Buenos dias, Stuart, and thank you for joining us today at Business Spotlight Series. Today, I'm excited to introduce Stuart Clarke, Managing Director of Russell & Russell Business Advisors, whose mission is to improve their clients' quality of life. Welcome, Stuart.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit more. I mean, you're an accountancy firm, and I'm intrigued by your mission to improve the quality of the quality of life of your clients.
Yeah, so our actual purpose is making lives better. So for me, that means making lives better for the team that we employ. But for them, it's then, I look after them, they should look after our clients. Rather than just being bog standard chartered accountants, a lot of people just switch off when they hear that. We wanted to have something that actually made a difference to people and something that we could connect to as a team. So we're thinking about what we do. We either, even if we're doing something as simple as doing the payroll, we're making their lives better because we're giving them more free time either with the family or less stress at the month end. If we are helping them with tax planning, we're giving them more cash in hand so they can either afford that holiday that they've always wanted to take with the kids, or they can employ a new team member and make lives better for the people in their team. Or, as I said, if we're doing some advisory stuff or really helping them to grow, then they've got more money to invest. They're growing the business. It's helping more jobs in the local economy. We're then going out and spending locally as well. So it's making making life better for the whole local area. So sometimes it sounds a bit grand, but actually we try and tether it to things that we actually can make an improvement on and actually make people's life better. And a big part of that is, understanding what business owners want and what their goals are. I always say no one sets out to have a £1 million, £2 million, £3 million turnover business. Their goal is to have a house that they love staying in, is to go on X number of holidays a year, to send the kids to school, whatever it might be. That might mean when you work back, they have to have a £3 million business. Understanding the individual's core goals is really what drives us forward.
Yeah, no, definitely. So basically helping them to get what they want from their business, right? So to what they want.
And it's amazing how many people have never thought about that before. We've got a kind of phrase that we say every now and then, which is most people aim at nothing and hit it with amazing accuracy. And it's, sometimes when we ask people, what are your goals for the business? How many hours do you want to work a week? What pay do you want to take home? How many holidays do you want to take? What's your end goal for the business? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to pass it on to the employees? Do you want to pass it on to your kids? They've never really thought about that. And so actually having those conversations helps to bring that to the forefront and helps us, put a plan in place, because if we don't know what they're trying to achieve, how can we help them get there?
Yeah, definitely. And also having the numbers at your fingertips, it allows you to make objective decisions. And there are
I think the big thing is, like, one of the things we ask is what keeps people awake at night, and it is that kind of fear of the unknown. And they're not necessarily financial people. They're good at what they do. They're good at running their businesses. And so we want them to allow them to excel at doing that. And so again, we can make their lives better by taking care of that, by looking after the finances for them, by giving them snapshots, giving them updates as to whether things are going well, whether things are going not so well. And again, if things aren't going so well, you don't want to wait until 9 months after year end and get your year end accounts from your once a year accountant. And you're already 3/4 of the way through the next year. You want to get them as soon as possible so you can make changes, you can start to implement new things. You can either, do you need to get a new supplier? Do you need to cut costs so you can be more efficient? Do you need to increase your prices? Whatever it may be, so you can actually have an impact in the period that you're working in.
Brilliant. Now, tell us about how you you told me before that you wanted to become a physiotherapist.
Yeah, so I used to play rugby and I got injured quite a lot. So I was constantly the physiotherapist, and I thought, this sounds quite interesting. And I think I saw how much money my mum and dad were forking over in physio fees, and I thought, this sounds like this is a good way to earn. So yeah, I went to university, trained to be a physiotherapist. But before I went to uni, I did a kind of module in accounting and finance. So I thought, I'm going to have my own physio business. I want to know the numbers. And then I was kind of going, this is a bit more, I find this a bit more interesting. Or I still liked physiotherapy. There's just so many complexities to it. And again, a lot of the people that you're working with, sometimes I was bad for it myself. I was a physio or qualified as a physio, and if I get physio exercises, I'm sometimes the worst for doing them. And people, they say they want to get better, but actually involves effort and some work on their behalf. And I guess it's the same for business owners. People want to grow their business. We can hopefully give them the tools to do it, but they still need a certain amount of lifting from them. But it's a bit easier to square a balance sheet or square off a set of accounts rather than someone coming with, they had shoulder pain and back pain and leg pain, and it was just, oh, where do I start? It was all a bit overwhelming for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's incredible to see somebody that can move from one extreme to the other, from the physiotherapy to accounting.
Yeah, well, I think again, if I talking about what we were talking about earlier, when I reflect back on it, the throughput is helping people. As a physio, I wanted to make people's life better, and actually the areas that I enjoyed most were areas in, like amputee wards, post surgery, where you could get people up a day or two after surgery and get them walking, and actually, make a real difference and help them. When you're working in outpatients and you're dealing with chronic stuff, back pain and stuff like that, it was sometimes quite hard to help them. Whereas I could see a result there, and I like that end result. I think that's what I like about accounts as well, is in our business advisory side of things, is actually seeing the impact that we have on business owners.
So your motivation is the same, is to help people.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Excellent. So are your clients spread across Scotland or beyond? What's
So yeah, we've got, I guess, a few clients in the US that are, they operate here, but they're based out there. We've got clients up in Lerwick, up in Shetland, and clients down in London, and sort of everything in between. But I'd say the majority of our clients are Central Belt, so Glasgow and Edinburgh, and that kind of area in Scotland. So, but yeah, I think with COVID in particular, meeting online like this, it's become a lot easier to meet with clients. We were using Zoom back in 2018 with a client up in Shetland to have regular catch-ups with them. But other clients, oh no, I don't like the idea of that, I'll come face to face. With COVID, we had to do it, and actually, we still have face-to-face meetings, but we can have quick drop-ins and more regular check-ins. So it's actually a bit better for, accountability, or if something's not quite right in their accounts from zero, we can jump on screen and share things in an instant.
Yeah. Stuart, what are your aspirations for the company, for the business in the next 5 years?
So our aspirations to grow to probably double, if not triple, the turnover of the business. We're sitting with 19 team members. We've actually invested a lot in the team at the moment, and I think we could get to that sort of turnover with only maybe another 10 extra staff, so we wouldn't have to double the size of the team. And I think for me, again, tying it back to the core purpose of making lives better, it's Russell and Russell being a fantastic place to work, and people love coming to work here. They love the clients they work with. They can see the benefit that they're having on a day-to-day basis with their clients. And yeah, they love picking up the phone to them, having a conversation with them, and finding out more about their business. It's not, we're not the kind of place, if you want to sit in a dark room and just churn a set of accounts and never speak to anyone and never pick up the phone and just do them by email. That's probably not the right fit for people who want that kind of job. We want people that are outgoing, want to speak to people and build relationships with our clients.
Brilliant. Tell us a little bit more about how do you make your business the best place to work?
So for us, we've focused a lot on getting that purpose and actually defining that, the making lives better, and then the values around that as well. So we've got being your best self, playing your part, and challenging clients. And then within that, there's 5 sort of behaviors that exemplify each of those. And that wasn't us that came up with it. It was the team themselves. So we got the team to think about what are the values of working here, what do they want them to reflect, what they want for someone new coming in, so they understand exactly what type of business we are. And so they spent a lot of time themselves coming up with it and fed it back to us as directors. And I think they were quite nervous about, are we going to reject this? But they absolutely nailed it. And so, yeah, we use that in our recruitment. We use it when we're trying to embed it in the day-to-day. We talk to the team about, what values we've exhibited this week. We celebrate when people have exhibited one of the values. We've got a wow table in the office, so if the team goes above and beyond, they can leave a wee gift or a thank you card for someone else in the office and leave them a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates or a crate of beers, so they can kind of recognise that on a day-to-day basis and get that recognition from their peers.
Brilliant. In terms of recruitment, you mentioned recruitment. How do you find recruitment these days? Because it's been pretty tough for most businesses in most industries over the past few years.
Yeah, I think there's certain roles it's particularly difficult for. I think accountants as well are generally quite risk averse. So, we might have conversations with people and then you get to a certain point and, oh no, I've got a counter offer, or I think I'll just stay where I am. But again, that maybe means if you look at the values, they're maybe not the right person for us in the first place. So it's better to find out sooner rather than later. I think, yeah, we've certainly been impacted by things like KPMG's tax centre, which has driven up the wages for tax members of staff. And I think for things like trainees, we've struggled a bit recently getting people in who, again, maybe like confident enough to pick up the phone and stuff like that. But it's a training firm. We want to be able to train people. We don't expect them to be able to hit the ground running. And we take on school leavers, we take on college graduates, take on university graduates, and working them up has been well. And we've had a couple of really good hires, senior people who have come into the team, which has helped a lot. We've got a great team of people that have been here for a long time. We've actually had a lunch the other day to celebrate. Jocelyn had been with us 15 years. I think Andrea was 5 years, but it was during COVID, so we didn't get a chance to celebrate. And James was 5 years as well. So we've got quite good staff retention, which is good. And sorry, I forgot what I was going to say about there. Yeah.
It was about whether you find it easy or difficult to find the talent to grow.
Oh, so yeah, so I was going to say, actually, we had one person leave us last year and they came back within 8 days because they went to another firm and just said it was, shocking the level of work they're doing and what they're kind of doing for clients, and they realized that they'd made a mistake. And thankfully, we'd made sure they were a good leaver. We'd kept in touch with them. They'd been a valued team member of the team. We didn't want to cut ties completely, and they came back, which was a great boost for us, and I think helped a lot.
Well, that's a great testimonial, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, very good, very good. What was one of the biggest challenges you had to face to grow the business?
I think for us it is capacity, and I think over servicing to a certain extent. Because we do want to have that making lives better, and we want to help people. Quite often we'll maybe do too much for them in regards to what we've agreed we'll do and what we actually end up doing. And often in the past we've taken on a client, built up to we're at breaking point, and then said, "Oh, we need to bring in a new team member in." Whereas we've been quite conscious about that since we bought the business over back in November 22, and we're trying to build the team first so that they've got extra capacity to then bring clients on. So yeah, I think that's probably been the biggest challenge. And I think sometimes it just takes a while as well, especially with accountancy. People kind of stick to what they know. So actually getting out there and getting new clients can sometimes take a while. I had one client that I think the first port of contact was sort of 3 years between when I first made contact with them and when they actually came on board. That's just how long it takes sometimes. And we're constantly out there speaking to people on LinkedIn. We've got the updated the website, trying to put stuff out there, content, so that at whatever point they come to us, whatever point they realize they need help, we're there to be able to help them.
Yeah, brilliant. And what would you say to anybody who either wants to give up their job to run their own business, or they are within an existing firm and they may move on to the MD level. What would you, based on your experience, what would you say to them?
I think, obviously, get a good accountant. so because it is amazing. There's some people. It is quite easy to set up a company at company's house and to just get going, which is great in one way, but it can also cause a lot of issues. And it's amazing how people start working and forget that they've got to collect tax at the end of the day for HMRC. And whilst we're not tax collectors for HMRC, we want to make sure our clients are compliant. We want to make sure they've got cash set aside. If you get 10 grand in the bank, it's amazing how many people just go and spend that or take the money out and actually they forgot about company taxes, they forgot about personal taxes, there's maybe VAT, corporation tax, all these sort of things. And so, yeah, I think having a clear understanding of that, this can really set you up for going forward. And I think, not just accountants, any advisor, having someone that you can trust, either a mentor that you can ask questions or bounce ideas off. I think when you're by yourself, it can be quite a lonely place. And people automatically assume, I think, that if you're a company owner, that you're rolling in it and, life's easy. Whereas actually, you've taken a big risk. Quite often we see owners that pay the team first and they get paid, only if that customer pays them at the end of the month. And they don't want to tell the team they've got these issues or these worries because you're the boss and they want to kind of they've got a certain image that they want to protect. So I think having someone that you can bounce ideas off, that you can talk to, that you can unload on is huge for business owners, especially if it's just you.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. And what would you say what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
I don't know, actually. We talk about, I did physiotherapy for 4 years and then ended up not doing it. My parents might want my 18-year-old self to go straight into work and not rack up university fees and everything. But I went to an all-boys school. I went to physiotherapy where I was one of 4 boys out of a year of 90 people. And I had to learn how to talk to people. Like an all-boys school is a kind of weird environment, and it's, I had to come out my shell a bit, and I learned a lot in that period. And I don't know if I'd be where I am now if I hadn't done that. So I'm glad I went to university and did physiotherapy and enjoyed all that. I'd probably stay. I used to play a lot of sport, and I kind of stopped a bit when I left uni, or when I left school, went to uni. So I'd probably tell myself to stick in at the sport and try a bit harder.
Yeah. Okay. Now moving on to books. Do you have a favorite book you would recommend?
Yes, I think the business book that I probably recommended most recently is They Ask, You Answer.
Yes.
I've been bought a few copies of that for clients. I think it's just a really simple way. He puts in simple words, and it's the ideas that gets across. And yeah, you kind of read it and go, "Oh, why wasn't I doing this beforehand?" And it's you don't have to be great at marketing or have a degree in marketing to be able to then go away and actually implement some of the things. Whereas sometimes some business books is quite hard to actually see what the actions are. Whereas from this, you've got a list of five blogs or 5 areas you could go away and work on and start writing about it straight away.
That is not Marcus Sheridan's. Marcus Sheridan.
Yes.
Yeah. We invited him. Did you come to the event we organized with Brad?
To in Edinburgh last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very good. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, movies. Do you have a favorite movie?
Movie. I love going to movies. So I've got a cinema card, so I go to the cinema at least twice a month. Try and see about 30 films a year at the cinema. But I think my record was 130. That was pre-kids and pre-being a business owner as well. So could do that. I always find it hard to choose a favorite, but I've got the kind of classics I always go back to time and time again. So It's a Wonderful Life at Christmas, Godfather, Indiana Jones. I'd probably say the Indiana Jones is my favorite. My wife arranged a special screening of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade for my 30th birthday and hired out a cinema and got all my friends along. She hadn't told me about it. It was a surprise. That was a good night. So yeah, I think Indiana Jones would be my favorite movie.
Wow. So two movies a month.
Yeah, at least.
Wow, it's pretty good.
That's the plan.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Excellent. Good. And if you could choose a superpower, what would you go for?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes when you're sitting across the desk with someone, it'd be to be able to read their mind, I guess. But actually, I guess that's the purpose of being able to ask good questions.
Yes.
Maybe the power of implementation. If that could be a superpower, like you can sit in all these meetings and have all these great actions, but it's whether you actually implement them and put them into action is what actually makes a difference in business. So yeah, the superpower of actually implementing everything you say you're going to do would be pretty good.
Very interesting. Well, on that line, I mentioned it to you before, but this book, Traction, is about, well, you can only get traction if you're implementing stuff. So yeah, brilliant.
Let's check that out then.
And one final question: if you could spend a day in the life of? It doesn't have to be somebody living now, but you can go back to the past as well. Who would fascinate you? I wish I could spend a day with and see what they do, how they do it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think again, talking about sport earlier, and that's how I got into physio and things like that. It maybe be a sportsman. So I'm trying to think who. I love playing rugby, and so whether I went for someone like Doddy Weir or something like that, he was my kind of hero when I was playing at that stage. I was long and gangly like he was, but then I like playing golf. I'm not a very good golfer, so like being a professional golfer or someone like that, Tiger Woods, or maybe someone like Andy Murray, tennis. Just seeing what it takes to be the dedication they have to, again, putting everything into place. I find some of that fascinating. So yeah, maybe something like that.
Brilliant, excellent. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. And Stuart, it's been a real pleasure to have you join us today at Business Spotlight and for sharing your experience, wisdom, and candor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.